Of slow vindication for the president. Again, the claim has been that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia.
It is Tuesday, February 20th, pointing the finger at his predecessor. The president taking aim at the Obama administration over the 2016 election meddling. The brand new push to safeguard elections by taking voting machines back to the future.
Dreamers dispute the Supreme Court heading back to the drawing board on immigration. The decision on DACA that could come as early as today. And country music star contest. How you could win the chance to be featured in Scotty McCreery's next music video. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
Summertime feeling, kick back, relax, just chillin'. I'm feeling it. Whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing like digging that summertime, digging in the sand.
And look at that. What are we listening to right now, Todd?
Scotty McCreery was actually on our show, Fox and Friends, over the summer. Great guy, really nice guy.
Music concert series outside. He was awesome.
He was great.
And you could be in his next music video. Or Todd. Who knows?
No, please, America. Don't vote Todd. You should be there, America. And thank America for being here with us.
Absolutely. Good morning. You're watching Fox and Friends First on this Tuesday. I'm Jillian Nealon.
And I'm Todd Pyle in for Rob Schmidt. Thank you, of course, for starting your day with us. President Trump blaming the Obama administration for not doing enough to prevent Russian election meddling.
This as several states consider returning to paper ballots to avoid any outside interference.
Griff Jenkins joins us live from Washington, D.C. with the latest on that and Moscow's response to the Russia investigation. Griff, good morning.
They are, Todd and Jillian. Good morning. Russia's responding to those indictments, and this is a shocker. The Kremlin is denying any involvement. On a conference call with journalists yesterday, Putin's spokesman says there's no proof that Moscow interfered in the 2016 election, as President Trump was again pointing to the last administration's failure to act when the interference began in 2014, tweeting, Obama was president up to and beyond the 2016 election, so why didn't he do something about Russian meddling? This is several secretaries of state and cybersecurity officials met in Washington to discuss the meddling.
That was $1 million a month operation. So that gives me an idea of the resources that we're working against.
The biggest threat seems to be from the American public believing the many false stories that were told out there during the last election.
The officials were gathering at a meeting of the National Organization of Secretaries of State, many from the 21 states targeted by Russian hackers in 2016, seeking better sharing of federal information about threats to their systems, some even suggesting the answer could lie in a return to paper ballots. But Georgia's Secretary of State Brian Kemp reminding us that that could entail the famous hanging Chad.
The fraud we see in Georgia is with paper ballots. So I would be very careful going back to the old days of the hanging Chad.
DHS officials acknowledge the critical need for help, vowed it would be their #1 goal. 32 states are getting federal vulnerability support right now. But here's the deal. The next election, Texas's primary, is 2 weeks from today. Todd, Jillian?
All right, Griff, thank you very much.
Right around the corner.
Yes, it is.
Coming off the Mueller indictments, the media now trying to connect these charges with the election's legitimacy.
But Molly Hemingway, the senior editor at The Federalist, says there is still no evidence of any collusion.
It's been a year of slow vindication for the president. Again, the claim has been that there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Treasonous collusion. We have not seen anything that even comes close to that, and people are really waiting and kind of losing patience for any of that evidence to take place. Does it show that Russia meddles? Yes, and people know Russia meddles, and people should also be concerned about other countries meddling at least as much as they're concerned about Russia. It's not just insecurity. That has been the storyline going back for a year. Even on Friday with this indictment, you saw headlines saying this puts the entire election's legitimacy into doubt. That's deranged. That's conspiracy thinking. And so it's not just him being his typical defensive self, which he certainly is. It's also about a media that has really played fast and loose with the underlying facts of this story and have really caused, have sort of played into Russia's hands by continuing this idea that people shouldn't have confidence in their election or in civic institutions.
Today, busloads of grieving students will march on Florida's Capitol demanding changes to gun safety laws.
Their demonstration coming hours after a judge ruled the shooting suspect's childhood records can go public. Kelly Wright is live with the brand new details about his very troubling past. Kelly.
Jillian and Todd, good morning to you. When students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School arrive in Tallahassee today, they have one demand for state lawmakers: stop gun violence. A series of vigils still being held to remember the 17 people who died in last week's tragic school shooting. Students and parents remember those who were killed and vow to push for gun reform.
And I'm not going to let my daughter's death go in vain. I promised all these kids that I've been talking to that they're going to go to school and they're going to be safe, and we're going to have a movement. We're going to make Meadows movement.
We are the voices of America. We are the ones that are going to make a change. I invoke everybody, do not just send us prayers. Let your actions be your words.
And there are signs that students and parents are being heard in Florida. State lawmakers reportedly considering raising the age for buying an assault rifle to 21, imposing a 3-day waiting period, and closing background screening loopholes. As for shooter Nicholas Cruz, well, a judge ordering sealed court records to be released. It reveals allegations that Cruz lived in a home filled with abuse and neglect. The judge says the public has the right to know.
I don't believe that the state has suffered any prejudice by these matters being kept confidential, and I am going to leave everything the way it is.
And beyond the courtroom and Parkland, students are starting a national movement, I should say, against gun violence, demanding answers from President Trump. The White House says the president plans to have a listening session with students about this very issue on Thursday. Jillian.
All right, Kelly, thank you. We will be covering it, so stay tuned to Fox News. Now to a Fox News alert. The FBI now joining the desperate search for a missing 5-year-old boy in Kansas. Just take a look at this photo. According to his stepmother, Lucas Hernandez was last seen inside his home on Saturday afternoon. She claims he was gone and the back door was open when she woke up from a nap. Police, though, do not suspect Lucas was kidnapped. According to local reports, a relative called Child Protective Services last year, concerned about the child's well-being.
The Supreme Court comes back from its winter break today as the deadline looms for a deal on DACA. Justices may step in as soon as today and decide on the appeal of President Trump's executive order. Earlier, legal affairs reporter for the Washington Times, Alex Swoyer, told us what to expect.
For the president, really, nothing will happen until the either Circuit Court, Ninth Circuit, or the Supreme Court decide to take the case, and then that's when his argument would really become, relevant. There's nothing that President Trump has done that's being implemented at the point, so he really does need either a favorable ruling from the Ninth Circuit or the Supreme Court to take his case.
Under the current plan, DACA will expire on March 5th.
Senate hopeful Mitt Romney getting a huge endorsement from Washington. President Trump tweeting his support, saying, quote, he will make a great senator and worthy successor to Orrin Hatch and has my full support and endorsement. Romney thanking the president, adding, quote, I hope that over the course of the campaign, I also earn the support and endorsement of the people of Utah. Romney was critical of the president during the 2016 election, calling him a fraud.
New concerns that North Korea could be planning to blackmail the U.S. out of billions of dollars. Senior national security officers privately worry that once the rogue nation becomes capable of striking our territories, they could try to extort Washington.
You have a range of possible things that North Korea could demand, everything from enormous financial payoffs. North Korea feels that it is entitled to reparations for everything from the losses it suffered during the Korean War through the sanctions that have been imposed upon North Korea since 1953.
President Trump has insisted we would not let that happen.
Pyeongchang planning to roll out the red carpet for Ivanka Trump at the Winter Olympics this weekend. According to a South Korean newspaper, Seoul is preparing a lavish reception that's typically reserved for first ladies.
The South Korean president will greet her in person and accompany her to watch a skiing event. The country may be hoping to charm Ivanka to persuade her father to visit North Korea on a diplomatic trip. If that happened, wow.
Stay tuned. We will see. It is 9 minutes after the hour. Caught on camera shocking video showing a teenager attempting to bring a gun to school just days after the Florida high school massacre. The manhunt just launched to find him.
Former President Obama called out by President Trump for not doing enough to stop Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Why Tom Fitton says all roads attempting to take down President Trump lead back to Obama.
The law says that you cannot touch. But I think I see a lot of lawbreakers up in this house.
Why did you guys use video of me? There.
Yes,
Why?
yes, John,
Why?
that's what that is.
Why is everybody laughing? This is your read.
All right, all right, all right. Matthew McConaughey adding yet another entry to his ever-growing resume. His brand new
Bravo to you.
just revealed.
I'm not big on social graces. Think I'll slip on down to the OA.
13 minutes after the hour now, police on the lookout for a teenager caught on camera trying to bring a gun into school. The disturbing clip out of Philadelphia, taken just one day after the Florida school massacre. You can see the boy pull the gun from his waistband and put it in his pocket. He then tries to open the door but gives up when he sees that it's locked. Police hoping someone will recognize the teen and turn him in.
A brand new poll shows Americans feel mass shootings are a mental health problem and not a gun problem. Now, this is according to the Washington Post ABC News poll conducted after last week's shooting in Florida. 77% think more effective health screening and treatment could have prevented the shooting. 57% of Americans feel mass shootings in this country are more a reflection of identifying and treating people with mental health problems. Only 28% say it's a reflection of inadequate gun control laws. President Trump demanding answers into why the Obama administration failed to act on the intelligence that Russia's meddling in the U.S. elections began back in 2014.
So what's next in the Russia investigation? Here now to weigh in is the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, thanks so much for being here, and let's ask that question. What is next?
Well, you know, that's the question for Mr. Robert Mueller. He's trying to make his investigation into Russia collusion relevant with this indictment/press release that was issued last Friday. And it really doesn't tell us anything about collusion with Americans, which is what he was hired to do. And so it's concerning that after well over a year, we still have these outlandish allegations being supposedly pursued by a massive investigation at the Justice Department under Mueller into something for which there's no evidence, that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians to steal the election. The indictment last week was warmed over news that's never going to go anywhere because it was an indictment of Russians abroad that aren't going to be brought here to the United States to face trial. So it's now up to those who say that Trump colluded with the Russians to come up with evidence. And if Mueller isn't coming up with evidence, then why is it we have a special counsel investigation to begin with?
Tom, President Trump was busy tweeting about this topic over the weekend, and we have a tweet here from just a couple of days ago, and it says Russia started their anti-U.S. campaign in 2014, long before I announced that I would run for president. The results of the election were not impacted. The Trump campaign did nothing wrong, no collusion. What's your reaction on this tweet? And look, all roads have to lead back to something, right? This started somewhere. Where do you think the roads go back to?
Well, it goes back to decisions by President Obama not to protect Donald Trump from disinformation campaign, from a disinformation campaign by the Russians targeting him. Remember, they were pushing the salacious material through their intelligence apparatus, through the Clinton campaign vendor, which was laundered into the FBI and DOJ. And when the FBI and DOJ learned that they were trying to blackmail potentially Donald Trump or lie about him, they should have taken steps to protect and warn Trump. Instead, they used it as a pretext to spy on him. Who in the Obama administration made those decisions? We know President Obama was